We should all be happy, grateful, and relieved that Villa won. Shouldn't we? How come I don't feel that way then? Presented by the 24/7 Services team, which I would trust more from the penalty spot at this stage, let's review Villa 1, Bologna 0. Greetings from the parlor. I was so content and happy to watch another competition, and 20 to 25 minutes in against Bologna, I'm thinking this is going to be 2 to 3-0 the way this is going, and then in the end, it felt an awful lot like a horrible display under Steven Gerrard, which we won 1-0 against Southampton, the first game after the Queen passed away, you may recall. So yes, there was relief and happiness that we got 3 points, but also we're looking at it going, man, there is still a lot of work to do. You can actually feel the vibe through the television. This team is going through a crisis of confidence, and that's contagious in the same way as it is when you're winning. But the greatest example of this is that we are trapped in a world of either playing the ball too early or playing it too late. There were countless examples of this in the game. And when things are going really well, you're not thinking, you're just reacting. And when they're not going well, you overthink everything. Alex Dutton, music teacher by day, Atarka guitarist by night, and full-time Villa fan, with his Europa League package grabbing footage for us again. Villa had marginally less possession in the end. The penalty inflated our expected goals slightly. Villa with fewer shots and shots on target, and our passing accuracy was not the best, but the 3 points are all that matters, and Villa's home record in Europe over the last 3 years is impressive. The extra stat is catching Bologna offside 9 times, and that is a good sign. It means our backline was organized, communicating, and not lazy or ball watching.
Any form of win today, just some goals, confidence behind the guys, to think, what, we're Aston Villa, we can do this. Come here fresh on Sunday, why not? The only way we're going to get out of this is to get behind the boys. Look at our squad depth, we've got some great players, and I know there's a lot of emphasis on Watkins isn't producing and Rodgers isn't producing, but I think as a collective, there's been a weird feeling about the ground, whether that's because of the transfer window, whether that's because of departures or players not know whether they're coming or going or not. But ultimately, they're the ones that are going to get us out of this.
It's always going to be a key issue during 3-game weeks, but the lineup and the rotation, 4 changes from the Sunderland game, and about 15 to 20 minutes in, some pretty good looks at goal from Malen, Gaëson, even Buendia. Gaëson looks really impressive when he's one-on-one. The problem is when he's doubled or tripled. Listen, this is a simple math equation. You have 3 players converging on you. That means 2 of your teammates are wide open somewhere else. You got to move the ball sooner, and I think he's going to figure that out. Malen's first touch and his first 5 yards are impressive. This is why I think he plays as a 9. But like Emi Buendia, I'm simply not convinced that I'm ever going to see either of them score again in my lifetime. Villa's man of the match was between John McGinn, Boubacar Kamara, and Pau Torres. Torres looked like a player who was annoyed at his lack of involvement so far this season and that he had something to prove. I mean, he went 52 of 55 on completed passes. That's 95%. He also went 4 of 5 on accurate long balls, passes over 20 yards. But he just seemed to look like he was in the right place at the right time most of the time.
Well, I want Rodgers to get dropped. I think he needs that kick up the bum. So I'm kind of wanting that. I don't think Emery's going to drop him. So I think he's going to start.
We just don't want like a 1-0 scrap. I don't think that does anything for us. We need a show here, and the players need to step up.
Big issue number 3, Rodgers' regression. I promise I don't have an agenda against this kid. In fact, it's the opposite. I am absolutely dying for him to regain his young player of the year type form from last year and the year before. But if I had to compile a reel of all the wrong decisions that Morgan Rodgers made in that game, we'd be here all day. And there were 2 great examples. The first one came just before the goal, and that was the air whiff after he did a very good job of losing his man. The other was from one of several breaks that we had in that little patch in the first half when it felt like we had Bologna on the ropes. And how many times have we seen Aston Villa exploit the counterattack, the space to drive into? This one was in the 39th minute, and Morgan Rodgers was just caught between, what do I do? Do I hang on to it? Do I move it? He did neither. It fizzled out. And that's because he's overthinking everything right now. Rodgers completed just 10 of 24 passing attempts. That's 42%. He was the lowest rated player among the 22 starters. It got so bad that the crowd actually gave him the sarcastic cheer in the 89th minute for completing the 10th of those passing attempts. This is unquestionably Unai Emery's biggest challenge right now. Does he allow Rodgers to try and play himself out of this funk? Or does he just give his minutes to Harvey Elliott or somebody else? 24/7 Services isn't just transforming the favorite rooms in your house to the envy of your friends and neighbors. They are also restoring British heritage. The country that gave us football and public houses has a lot of drinking establishments that could use some maintenance and repair. The Oaken Arms in Wolverhampton is a great example. It had some water damage from blockages under the roof tiles. I bet you there's a lot of dingles and dogheads in there. And here's another beloved pub in Maryhill getting some facade repairs, which is all custom work. And just look at the finished detail. 24/7 Services, not just refreshing and renovating your home, but your home away from home. And oh, what I wouldn't give for a proper pint and pie in Old Blighty right now.
I've been coming with my dad for 45 years, something like that. I just thought it was nice. My son's kind of been coming with us for the last few years. We've done all the European games for a few years. So yeah, I thought it was quite nice to have a plaque and something that obviously we can look back on when hopefully he brings his kids down the line.
Maybe 1-0, hopefully 2. And just a confident performance.
Big moment number 2, penalty problems. And if there is such a thing as footballing karma, well, it should have never been awarded in the first place because Watkins blatantly grabs the ball just seconds before. Our Spanish referee was quite an adventure. There were 2 or 3 scandalous decisions in that game. However, despite Watkins playing handball and a VAR check, the penalty was confirmed. The last penalty Ollie Watkins took in front of the Holt end, also on a European night, was this one. But then he buries the penalty in the shootout at Brentford. This one, though, oh my goodness, you've got to put it at least a couple of yards in the air if you're going to go straight down the middle. And everything about Ollie Watkins' body language, the fact that he had to take 3 big inhales and exhales, speaks to the collective Villa mentality and confidence right now. When Aston Villa is finally allowed to start spending money again in a transfer window sometime in 2028, we absolutely and positively must address this issue. It's been a problem for a while. Luiz was a good penalty taker until his last one, ironically, the most important one against Olympiacos, and we saw what a ruthless predator can look like from 12 yards away when we had Marcus Rashford. And it has to be somebody who plays regularly, and that's the problem with this current squad. Somebody is going to have to emerge from nowhere to take this responsibility. Convert that penalty and the entire mood in Villa Park changes. And credit to Watkins because his penalty record has been very patchy to say the least. And yet he still stepped up to take the responsibility. Bigger credit to the fans for singing his song afterwards. But that penalty was the difference between Villa being in 3rd to now 13th in the Europa League. And yes, I realize it's just round 1. Huge moment. The very unheralded and far more difficult than it looked save from Marco Bizot at the very death. If that goes in, there might have been a riot. And it starts with a poorly given away free kick by Luca Dean. He didn't have to give a foul away there, but he did. That reminded me an awful lot of the foul that was given away prior to the Bournemouth equalizer from last year that I bang on about often. And the problem with that one and that result is that it began a very dreary run of results last fall. It's the kind of foul you give away that gets punished. Marco Bizot, despite seeing it late, got up there and somehow clawed it away. He could have actually been a man of the match candidate for sure. He was very steady for me. But when he came out and did the old starfish because he was nowhere near a cross and was then down for a couple of minutes, 2 children in goalkeepers' kits in our dugout were soiling themselves in minute number 73. Emi Martinez apparently not available because of a small injury or a training ground bust-up. depending on which rumors you believe.
2-0 I'm going for. I'm thinking Watkins, hopefully, he needs a goal. Possibly John McGinn again, because I think he done that last season as well, so you never know.
And the number one big moment that defined Villa 1, Bologna 0, McGinn's winner. Or is it a McGuinner? Anyway, it's the second year in a row that John McGinn got us all 3 points on a European night against Bologna. Last year's goal, very different, from a free kick. And he bent in such a beautiful perler, it just kind of froze the goalkeeper. Over the last couple of seasons, McGinn has been working with Austin McPhee and others within the club on improving his striking mechanics, going for accuracy and placement rather than power, with the help of a golf swing analysis tool. I love this kind of stuff. And it paid off here, because there's very little backlift, but the accuracy is perfect. The most important aspect, though, is the time between first touch and strike. I mean, this is what you teach kids all the time. Get that release off as quickly as you can, because it doesn't give the goalkeeper time to set. And that's exactly what happened in this instance. I mean, this shot is from outside the box and goes near post. The goalkeeper will be very disappointed. And me having moaned about our lack of success from set pieces after the Sunderland game, not realizing that Matty Cash's goal actually came from a short corner, thanks to, me not seeing it because of some really bad TV direction work. That's now 2 games in a row where we've scored from a short corner that led to a strike from outside the penalty area. Next up, the visit by Fulham on Sunday. Another team Villa loves to play at home. The Cottagers have but 1 win in their last 7 visits to Villa Park. And the last time they beat us in all competitions was that fateful night in October of 2022. The last in the Steven Gerrard era. Surely I've gone and jinxed it now. The current carnation of the Cottagers has but 1 loss on the season. That was the visit to Chelsea. They've also beaten 2 lower league sides in the Carabao Cup. And the cast of characters has been very consistent and familiar. Raul Jimenez is a thorn in our side. One notable addition this summer, and that was Samuel Chukwueze, who of course has a relationship with Unai Emery from their time at Villarreal together. But I look at the recent history of this fixture and the timing of it, and I'm hoping for some serendipity here. A little bit under the radar, but Andres Garcia was in the matchday squad for the first time since pre-season, and it won't be long before we get our Belgians back either, Tielemans and Onana. I say it an awful lot on this show, but fortunes can change in football in an instant, for better or for worse. Let's hope Thursday's win ignites something for the boys in claret and blue. And because it was a win, hallelujah, I can have one of these. Until Fulham, up the mighty Villa.